So, the only way I can use the vertex angle bisector conjecture is if I have an isosceles triangle, which I do. It shows me that these two sides are congruent. The vertex angle bisector conjecture says that if I bisect this vertex angle, two things happen. First of all, this is an altitude, so it's perpendicular to the opposite side. And second, it's a median, so it bisects the opposite side. So this is the notation I can put on this based on what I have already. Well, if the distance from A to D, A to B, this whole thing is 11 centimeters, and they just want half of that, all I need to do is show 11 divided by 2 to say, oh, this one must be 5.5 centimeters then. And the measure of angle ADC has to be 90 degrees with no other work that I have to show because it has to be an altitude. Now, measure of angle A, I'm just going to write on here is 70 degrees. The distance from A to D is 3 centimeters. They want the measure of angle ACD, which we'll get in a second, and they want the distance from A to B. Well, again, if this is isosceles and if this is an altitude, it means that this angle is bisected and that this side length is also bisected. So, that means if this is 3 centimeters, this is 3 centimeters, the distance from A to B is just 3 times 2, which is 6 centimeters. Now for ACD, I just want this part. I know if this is an isosceles triangle that this is also 70 degrees because the isosceles triangle conjecture says then the base angles have to be congruent. I'm going to have to use a combination of things. I can either do the triangle sum conjecture now if I want to, because I know this is 90 degrees, this is 70 degrees, I can get that. Or some people looked at the larger triangle, used the triangle inequality conjecture there and the definition of congruent angles, and did 180 minus 2 times 70 and then divided that by 2. Probably the easiest way here is just to look at the smaller triangle. And I can use the triangle sum conjecture to take 180, subtract out the 70 that I know, and subtract out the 90 that I know, which is going to make this a 20-degree angle. Again, the other work that you could have shown on this one would be to look at the larger triangle and say I'm going to take 180, subtract out the two 70-degree angles, and then divide that answer by 2 to find the measure of one of these.